I'm live, like fixing my hair. I know that's kind of funny. Do you ever get in those situations where you're just like, I haven't finished doing my hair, and you're looking at the camera like, oh my gosh, I messed up my hair. Okay, I think I've fixed it. Um, I'm not just trying to make you guys laugh. Um, I need to like open the blinds, not the wind. I don't know why I call it the wind. Um, like seriously. Okay. There we go. Ah, it's light in here. Oh my gosh, it's like really bright and all kinds of stuff. Um, I wanted to talk about you know losing someone, and it's not easy for anybody. It's not easy for like adults and kids, and you know my family and I have had several losses over the last, I'd say, 4 years. Um, my niece Beatrice, she passed away from lupus. She was 33. Um, that was in 2022. 2022 was a bad year, not just because of that. Mine and my husband's oldest daughter, Mariah, she passed away from Ewing sarcoma cancer in 2024. But during the year 2022, she was diagnosed a few days after her 17th birthday with Ewing sarcoma cancer. It was metastatic, meaning that it was all over her body, and she had some tumors in different areas. Um, she had a big, huge mass that was on the right side of her hip, and it went all the way to her lower back. It was intertwined in her spine. She had tumors on both sides of her shoulders. She had a tumor in her left knee. She had a hard time walking, and me and my husband noticed there was something wrong when she started walking on her tippy toes. And she complained of like stomach aches and how it was hard to like feel to go. I know some people are like, "Why are you talking about this?" Well, you know what? I'm sick and tired of people saying that to people that have lost loved ones, because we've all lost loved ones in different ways. Um, I want people to know what happened to her, because there's other people out there that have um, either they have kids or siblings, nieces, nephews, cousins, granddaughters, daughters. You know what I mean? Like, they have this disease, and not many people talk about it. And I'm going to keep talking about it because it's going to get out there even more. Because I have joined groups on Facebook about Ewing sarcoma cancer. There's so many families that are dealing with this every day, and there's no damn cure. Mariah went through a lot, and I'm sure some people are going to say the same thing of what their child is going through, what they're going through, and they're scared out of their minds because they don't know what to do. They don't know whether they're going to live or die or not. You don't know whether they're going to live or die or not. Mariah ended up in the hospital on April 29th, 2022. She had lost weight. She went from 170 pounds from the last October till April 29th. She weighed 123 pounds. Um, we didn't know what was going on because she was so into her school. She loved school. She was trying to get good grades. She was all about getting her school finished, and she wanted to do other things in life. After high school, she wanted to go to college, and join drama and do music and do art. I mean, she wanted to do all kinds of stuff. Different types of art. Because, music and acting is a form of art. There goes my voice. It changes all the time. Anyways, it was devastating for her to know that she was sick with Ewing sarcoma cancer. I've heard of that word before because years before, one of my friend's daughters had it, and I didn't snap to it at the time. But she had 2 biopsies in her lower back. They took some bone, out of her back, and they sent it to Colorado. The doctor said, it looks like your daughter has Ewing sarcoma cancer. And I was like, what's that? And he said, it deals with your bones and tissue. And I was like, is that why Mariah's talking like she's younger than she is? The way she's reacting to things? And he's like, yeah, it could be. It could affect your process of thinking and stuff like that. Especially if it was in her brain. Lucky enough, it wasn't in her brain. I know some people have had, the ones that have had Ewing sarcoma cancer in their brain. It's in different parts of the body. I had to tell Mariah that she was sick. I mean, how can you look at your own child and tell them, by the way, you have a form of cancer, and it's called Ewing sarcoma cancer. It affects your bones and your tissues, and that's why you're in pain. You have a big mass on the right side of your hip. That's why you can't feel. She had that mass, not really taken out, but when she did radiation, it just got rid of it. But still, she had that tumor intertwined in her spine, her lower part. And she got pain in her back all the time, and her legs and everything. She was in pain. She would cry so bad. She had x-rays, PET scans, MRIs. Yeah, a lot of people with this go through that. She wasn't able to walk. She ended up in Presbyterian Hospital, but a few days after that, I was like, you know what? I don't like the way she's being treated. The main doctor for the oncology pediatrics, he was rude. He just came out of retirement, and he didn't care. He shushed me because I said, Mariah doesn't really want to talk to anybody. You can talk to me. And he's like, well, I need to talk to her, not you, so you need to shush. It's like, really? No doctor is going to talk to me like that. And when my daughter Mariah wanted to be alone and wanted to talk to me only, she had that right. But me and my dad, my dad died a few years before, but that's another story. I talked to my husband on the phone, and I was so sad to tell him, myself. It's going to break his heart. My husband and our daughter Mariah, they were close. I mean, they would do a piece. They put their pinkies together, cross them around each other's. They would make jokes, they would laugh, Kids have different things they do with parents or, people they're close to. And I don't do that with my husband. I don't cross my pinky and say pinky swear. I don't do that. That was their thing. Our youngest daughter, Maiden, she's very close to her. So was our youngest son, Tyler, and our older son, Steven. They were all close to Mariah, and they saw her in pain. When she got to UNM Pediatrics Hospital Specialties, she weighed 120 pounds. She lost 3 pounds while she was at Presbyterian. They were supposed to do physical therapy for her at Presbyterian, and they didn't. They didn't get her out of bed. She had a double port put in her chest, the right side of her chest, and she had to have it accessed every couple weeks. She had to get it accessed. She had nurses coming into our home when she got to go home. She didn't go home from the hospital from UNM about almost 4 months. So I went home probably about 3 or 4 times. I talked to my husband every day. Mariah talked to him every day. She talked to Maiden and Tyler and Steven. Maiden was like 2, so she didn't really understand. I had to be away from our kids and my husband during those times, and it was hard. I get distracted because I have ADHD. It was hard, but she got close to some of the nurses there, and some of the nurses were really nice. When we first got there, me and Mariah, it was at night. She was so tired, poor thing. And they got her into her room right away and got her comfortable and made her feel like she was important, like all the kids there are. And they treated me nice. I was at Presbyterian and they were rude. And I don't like Presbyterian. They didn't care about Mariah too much, except for this one lady that helped with her birthday on May 2nd. It's horrible to find out, after you turn 17 or any age when you're younger, you find out you have some form of cancer. It's like, really? I had my life ready to graduate, months from now from high school. Go to college. Sorry. Well, that same year she was diagnosed, May 6th, 2022. That year, she didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to do about school. And I was like, you need to finish, I'm going to make sure that the school helps you. And I did. I told the school, you're not going to fail her. You're not going to tell her she cannot finish. Because they were like, well, because she's sick. She can't finish. I was like, yeah, she is. You're not going to stop Mariah from finishing school. And she ended up on a 504 program, which is through the Department of Education, which I don't agree that, what's her name, Linda McMahon, she sucks, okay? She knows nothing about the Department of Education. Nothing. And if we didn't have that, our daughter Mariah wouldn't be able to do school online or get the extra help she needed. She would have had to not have ever graduated high school. And she worked so hard. And I wasn't about ready to let that happen to her, and my husband didn't either. And while I was in the hospital with her, 2022, I talked to the principal. He came to the hospital and signed paperwork and got everything good for Mariah to keep going with school. Well, she did that. She did her schooling online, and it was connected to her high school. She was finally able to go home about July, almost August. And she was happy to go home. Before she went home, they had her in pediatric specialties. They took pictures of the kids, and it looked like they were inside the shark, and you can see the mouth open, and you can see her, her head and like her shoulders and stuff. And she was making these funny faces, and she was happy to go home to see her dad and her brothers and her baby sister. I was happy to go home too because I was like, finally, we get to go home. And Mariah was in and out of the hospital because she had to do chemo every 2 weeks. She did 14 rounds of it. She got infections a lot. She had to have a catheter. She was in a wheelchair. I had to help her stand just to get into the car. My husband and I had to put her wheelchair in the back of the trunk of our car that we have. I had to give her probably different types of medicines that were about 12 of them, I think. So then it went down to like 8 of them. She was on different medications like gabapentin, oxybutyrin. She was on one that helped her gain weight. So she started gaining weight before she even got home. And there's pictures of her. Like one of the videos I have of her, it shows her when we left the hospital the last time she was in the hospital. The last time she was in the hospital was in May. Yeah, again, for her birthday, it sucked. She had to go get a PET scan and an MRI back to back, and they had to knock her out. They had to give her anesthesia and all this other medicine because it's going to take about, 3 to 4 hours. And I was waiting for her, while they were giving her the injections in her port, the double port. And then I left because she was falling asleep. So I left and I went to her room, which is on all the way up on the other side of the hospital. I'm sorry, I can't talk straightly today. Talking about it hurts. But people need to know that it's not all fun and games when you see your loved one sick, in pain. She went from being able to walking on her tippy toes, losing so much weight, ending up in a wheelchair. She had to have physical and occupational therapy. She even got speech because I wanted her to get speech because the way she was talking was like a 5-year-old. The nurses were really nice, and she had to go to Carrie Tingley, to get physical occupational therapy, and it was on the 5th floor at UNM Pediatrics. And if anybody's been there themselves, they know that the specialties pediatrics is on the other side of the hospital, and then on the other side there's the main side, where they have all the adult stuff and the x-rays, PET scans, and they also have the intensive care for pediatrics and the hematology, oncology, where kids go in to get blood drawn, or they access their ports. And whenever Mariah had her port accessed every 2 weeks, it's a needle like this they put in their chest, or wherever it is they put the port. There's different types of ports, but this was like inside of her heart, that connects to her heart. Now, people don't realize that. And I learned that from this book, what thing they gave me about, the cancer and stuff like that, what they do. And she had 2 of them, so they had to poke her like twice. And some nurses didn't know what they were doing. They had to poke her about 10 times. And you had to put some cream there, lidocaine cream. Don't touch it with your hands because it can make your hands numb. Even the patches that you can put for pain too, don't ever touch where the wet side. Don't ever do that because I did that. Mariah started laughing at me. She's like, Mom, come on, don't put lidocaine cream on your fingers. Remember what the nurse said? I was like, oops. So I had to put that on her before we went to the hospital. My husband would take us there, and there are a few times he stayed with her in the hospital, and she had ultrasounds on her liver. They checked her heart. They checked everything on her. She had to do an MRI on her head, and there was this one time I remember because they had to try to do it twice because the first time I didn't know they were going to put a box over her head. And anybody that has had an MRI, seriously, I cannot talk this morning. If you've had an MRI and you've had to have your head have an MRI, you know what I'm talking about. It looks like a plastic box, and they put it like over your head. It has like this weird camera thing, and then they put you in the MRI machine. She wasn't having it. Okay, she was scared out of her mind. There's no way I was gonna have them do that while she's awake. No, no, no way. And I said she's not gonna do it. You guys need to reschedule it to where you guys are gonna sedate her. I'm sorry, she's not going to do it. I'm not gonna put my daughter through that pain. She's going through enough as it is. I mean, she was in a lot of pain. Even when she got x-rayed this one time, and these women were trying to move her, these techs, and she cried so hard. This was like in the beginning when she was in the hospital. It was hard seeing her go through all this. And she had a catheter put in, and she had to wear briefs that looked like diapers. She had to get cleaned up. She had to have help sitting up. She started getting worse in 2024. But her weight was good. I mean, there's pictures of her. You'd be like, she doesn't even really look sick. But she was. She was actually wearing a wig in her high school picture, which is in her book. And I took that picture. Took it at home because pictures in schools are expensive. Even if you take family photos somewhere and you have to pay for them, they charge a lot of money. So I think it's better to just take pictures of yourself, when you have your phone. I mean, that's what it's for, besides calling and texting and listening to music, whatever you do on it. But in 2023, that's when she graduated high school. And we were very proud of her. And 2022, our son Steven graduated high school, but Mariah was sick in the hospital. So I went to his graduation, and my husband was at home with our younger kids. And my mom was at the hospital with our daughter Mariah, my husband's daughter. And Steven didn't want to graduate because finding out that, that year that Mariah was sick, it was hard on all of us. And like I said, it was hard on her especially. In 2024, she ended up in the hospital again. She was supposed to get an MRI, like that MRI and PET scan back to back. And she wasn't feeling good. We were supposed to go home. It was on May 1st. And she didn't look well. She looked kind of pale and stuff like that. And so she stayed in the hospital. Um, she went through a lot in the hospital last time she was there. Besides the PET scan, CAT scan, she was out of it for a few days because of that. Those scans. And she had an infection, so they had to give her some medicine for that. But she couldn't go home for like 2 weeks because they gave her an antibiotic. When they give a certain antibiotic, you have to stay in the hospital. She had to stay there for 6 more days. So I'm like, oh, really? Me and my husband were supposed to do something for her birthday. And that day we went in with her on May 1st. I had talked to Child Life, and my husband was like, you should talk to them and see if they can do something for Mariah's birthday. Because we were buying her a cake. We were going to have like this little get together, like with my husband and I were going to have it with our other kids and her, or have some other family members come over. But that didn't happen. She was in the hospital for almost 2 weeks, and I talked to Child Life. They're the ones that helps the families, and the kids that are sick, and like bring them toys or books or whatever they need. Or sometimes the parents have to wash their clothes, or different things that would help them. And I went back to Mariah's room because I was I had to leave because they told me to go wait in her room for a while because it's going to take a while. So that's what I did. And I go there and I look at her door and it's kind of decorated. And it said, "Happy birthday, Mariah." Walk in. Her bed is kind of decorated with, I don't know what you call those, like paper mache, I think it is, where it's like you try to pull it apart, but it's kind of hard, but it's soft, It was, her bed was wrapped with some of it, and it was pink, and Mariah loved pink, and there was this big balloon donut above the cabinets where the sink and stuff was, because these rooms at UNM Pediatrics are pretty big, and there's a bed in there for somebody sleeping there with their child, or any family member can do that. As long as they get approved for it, because there's some people that, they get along and they don't get along. So, but she wasn't waking up too good. She was in recovery after, getting out doing those scans. They had her on some sort of oxygen because they had her having the oxygen piece in her nose and had a bubble on it. I don't know what that bubble's for. I never really asked, But before I went to the recovery where she was at, her room was decorated with like this donut balloon, like I said, was above the cabinets, and then they had like this sign that said "Happy Birthday" on it, and then on the table, small little bowling table, they had spoons that were wooden and the forks were wooden, and they had paper plates that had like a picture of like a donut. It was pink and brown and sparkly, And they had these gifts for Mariah on the table right next to her bed, and it was where the drawers are. And she didn't see that for about 3 days because she was so out of it. It was really nice what they did for her, and she didn't realize it for a couple days, like I said. And when she did, she was so happy. She's like, "What's that? Who did this for me?" And I said, "Well, me and your dad asked Child Life to do this for you, so surprise. And we love you a lot." And I told the nurse that she had that day, Shelly, I was like, I appreciate what you nurses did for her because I don't know how it's gonna go. Um, Mariah had she's been backed up. They said, to go to the bathroom, she's backed up really bad. I didn't know how bad she was backed up, and she was always doing Marilax. You know, they gave her lactulose, but this doctor, this um, not a main doctor, it was a resident doctor. He came in while she was almost done getting sponge baths because she got a sponge bath. She loved those. And I was telling him, can you just go because my daughter's not dressed or anything like that. And you need to go. And he's like, well, I need to talk to you about your daughter. She's backed up and we're going to put a tube down her nose. I said, I don't effing care. Can you just leave her room? He's like, okay, I'll come back. He goes, and I thought he was going to be back like hours later. No, he comes back like 5 minutes later with the x-ray machine. I was like, you're coming in here while my daughter is not even dressed yet. She's covered with a sheet and a pillow, and she needs to get dressed. So you need to leave. And he's like, well, I need to tell you your daughter's so backed up that we need to put a tube down her nose. Will she let me do it? I said, yeah, right. Like, my daughter's effing going to let you do that. And I said, you guys are going to have to knock her out to do that because I guarantee you she will not let you do it. I wouldn't let you. And he said, okay, we'll give her, some medicine and stuff like that. But they're going to have her do it while she's awake, not asleep. I'm like, really? Good luck with that. And I was like, it's pretty messed up that you doctors didn't even tell me that you guys were going to do this to her, to prepare her for this. And you're going to do it tonight? Really? Well, good luck with that. Well, this tiny little nurse came in with this big bottle of, it was like a gallon of lactulose. And she said she had to put a tube down Mariah's nose. I said, Mariah's barely waking up because she had Ativan that day because she had a suppository and an enema. I've never really seen how an enema is done, but those of you who know what I'm talking about, and she had that. And of course she was on Ativan earlier and she wasn't really, she was like okay with them doing this because she was still out of it anyways. And then when that nurse was trying to put that tube down her nose, which is like this long, you're talking like up like that, okay? Like that. It's long. And the nurse said, well, the kids let us do it. I said, okay, but she's not. And she's starting to realize what was going on. She's very alert while that nurse was sticking that tube down her nose. She was crying in pain, and I was like, I'm so sorry, Mariah. I'm so sorry. And after they, she put that in her nose, and Mariah got her night meds, and she fell asleep. Well, about like 4 hours later, the nurse tells me, she wakes me up, and she's like, your daughter pulled the tube out of her nose. I was like, oh, okay. Told you guys she wouldn't like it. I mean, she's just like my husband. I don't think anybody likes that. And, even though they say kids are okay with it, okay, of course they're okay with it because they don't understand. But they were thinking of putting it back in her nose. I was like, no. Later on during the day, because that was early morning, she had an x-ray done to see how things were going with the lactulose, and some of it did go down because she did, have some of it come out, which was good. But the oncologist doctor, not her main one, said maybe we should try putting a tube down her nose for like 2 days or something. And I said, no, I'm not going to have her go through that again. Nope, I won't. She's been through so much. I will not have that happen. And she doesn't want that to happen. And the doctor said, well, we can try something else. She can keep doing the lactulose and the Marilax. You just got to make sure she takes it. And I said, yeah, but I got to sneak the Marilax in her juice or something, and I can do that. So she was doing that. It's crazy when you see your kid in pain like that and they have to do so much to him. Well, when we went home, before we went home, a few days before, my mom brought 2 cakes. My Aunt Lorraine was in the hospital, and that day Mariah was having an MRI and a PET scan. She had called me and asked me how Mariah was doing. She was in the hospital because of her heart. I told my Aunt Lorraine she's okay. And my Aunt Lorraine said, tell Mariah I love her and I love you too. I said, I love you too. Well, when my mom came, I think it was like a day or two later, she came with 2 cakes, like, those little cakes. One was white cake and the other one was chocolate. And the white cake had white frosting and sprinkles, and the other one had chocolate frosting. Well, Maya liked both cakes, and she ate a little bit, but not too much. But when she was like okay enough to eat, I got some Frito pie, and she loved Frito pie, so I shared some of it with her. And she liked eating fruit, and she liked how UNM Pediatrics, next to the hematology, there's a cancer fund for kids where you can get gift cards, like for gas or like for different restaurants, and also toys or whatever they need, snacks. So I went over there because you had to go all the way to the main side of the hospital. And if anybody's been there, they know what I'm talking about. You go all the way to the hospital to the 3rd floor. Did that. People were nice there. But she was doing good, and before we left, Mariposa Pediatrics doctor came in, and she was like, Mariah is being sent to try to be with them. I was like, what are you talking about? She doesn't want to be with Mariposa Pediatrics Hospice. And she said, well, just think about it. But the doctors are pushing it. And I said, I don't care. That's up to Mariah. That's her decision, not yours. So I talked to Mariah. I was like, do you want Mariposa Pediatrics, to come in and be in our home and stuff like that? And they're claiming that, the doctor's trying to push it. And she's like, no, I don't want to. And they made it sound like they were going to take her out. They were going to do all kinds of stuff with her. No, they didn't. Her weight was good. She started losing weight so much, so fast. When she got home, they said, she was basically pushed into being with Mariposa Pediatrics. So their nurses came, and the nurse said, well, if you don't like it, you don't have to be with us anymore. You can try it for a week or two. So Mariah was, okay, fine, I'll try it. But doesn't mean I'm going to like it, and doesn't mean I'm going to stay with it. And so they put her on hydromorphone and a generic brand of Versed, which is banned in our country. I did not know that. I looked it up later on. Well, she wanted to stop after a week and a half. And the nurse talked to the doctor, and the doctor said if she was to quit, she would have withdrawals from hydromorphone and the generic brand of Versed. And I was like, she wants to quit. She doesn't want to deal with you guys anymore. And the doctor said she can't. Well, see, the doctor from there told me that their pharmacy heightened up one of Mariah's meds. They weren't sure which one it was, but they think it's the one for in case she threw up. Sorry, my sound. Sorry, I had it on my speaker. Yeah, I have one of these like small speakers and it was plugged in. So sorry. I didn't mean to like do that. But as I was saying, Mariposa's pediatrics doctor said she thought it was the one for nausea that was making Mariah sleepy. I said, no, it's not. It's the Versed. It's actually a sedative drug. And she's like, oh, she's fine with it. And I said, no, she wants to get off of it. And she's like, well, she'll have withdrawals. I'm like, I don't care. Okay, get my daughter off that medicine now. And she's like, well, it's Mariah's choice. And I was like, yeah, it is her choice. And her choice is not to be with you guys anymore. And now you're saying she'll have withdrawals? You guys said after almost 2 weeks ago, if she didn't want to be with you guys anymore, she doesn't have to. And now you're saying she does? You're forcing her to do that. Well, they make her comfortable. That's what the doctors kept saying. Even the nurses were saying that because the doctors told them to say that. Well, they didn't listen to me. They didn't listen to Mariah. She was not very alert to make her own decisions because she was knocked out most of the time. She slept a lot. She had to press these buttons. I told her, try not to press them. And she's like, why? I was like, I'm going to try and give you some oil, put some oil on you, CBD, THC oil. I don't care who's against that. I really don't. It helps with pain, helps with anxiety. It's been around for centuries. People have put it in their food. Don't tell me it hasn't because it originated from Asia. Look it up. Even people from Asia would say it. It's been in our country for centuries, and you people took some of it. See, how did it get to the United States? Thank you, Asia. I appreciate the marijuana. Thank you. I'm being serious because you know what? It's not a bad thing. And the ones that judge are the ones that don't do it. The only way you can get addicted to something like that is if you lace it with drugs like heroin, meth, stuff like that. Cocaine, crack, whatever. That's the only way it could be addicting. It doesn't cause somebody to be depressed or have anxiety. I mean, there's different levels of marijuana that they sell in dispensaries. They're not going to sell somebody a 35%, which is pretty high, pretty high. And some people do use 30% of the level of marijuana. I don't. I use about 25, 27 now. In the beginning, it was 15. But that was years ago. So I use it for anxiety and pain. So don't judge me. I've had the edibles. Our daughter Mariah would have the gummies, and those helped her a lot. And the doctors were saying, oh, it's the gummies, it's all this, it's marijuana making her in pain, and it's not really. So you're telling me the oil I put on her is giving her problems, her having gummies? No, the medicines and stuff that you're putting her on are affecting her body. She did not have her etoposide. She was on etoposide and it was helping her. And because when she went home, I told him she hasn't had her etoposide in a while. She needs it. And the doctors weren't even thinking about that. That was saving her. And it was a pill she took every day at home. It was a chemo medicine. Even the doctor was saying it was working for her. So when she was off of that, and she was only on gabapentin, oxybutyrin. Oxybutyrin was for her bladder, and she was on Benadryl, hydromorphone, generic brand of Versed. She even was put on ketamine, and she had it about 5 times. So it was in her system for 5 times, on top of the meds that she was taking, duloxetine. She was on a lot of meds. And she started losing weight, and she wasn't able to eat. And then she wasn't able to drink. She started getting bubbles in her mouth, like maybe about 3 days before she passed away. The nurse said, I don't think she's going to make it. She doesn't have that long. So I had my mom and my sister and my nephew come by. My ex, I can't stand. He wasn't really in Mariah and Steven's life. So my husband is their dad. And I don't care what anybody says that, their dad's their dad. No, if they're not part of their life, they don't want to do what they're supposed to do being the dad. That's not their dad. Mariah couldn't stand her real dad, hers and Steven's real dad. He doesn't even deserve that title. She was like, why doesn't he love me? Dad at home is my number one dad. And numbskull is what I call my ex. She said, he's my number two because he doesn't do what dad does. Who's always there. Who loves me for me. Well, while Mariah was getting worse, she wasn't able to finish her book, edit it, because her hands were hurting. She was hurting all over. And when she wasn't pressing those buttons, she was wide awake, like for hours, She would be awake for like 3 hours and watching TV, or she wasn't really playing, video games with her brothers, on the PlayStation or anything. She would try, but her hands hurt. And she would try typing on her tablet to finish her book. Like, she would talk to her editor, Monica, who edited her book. I mean, she does different things for kids. And Mariah suffered, and I just want people to know that, when they say, oh, we're making your child comfortable and making your loved one comfortable for hospice. No, they're not. They're not giving them a choice. Mariah wanted to live, and that got taken from her. She got taken from us because of that. Her main doctor said the only reason why they don't have a cure is because they don't have enough funding. So because there's not enough funding, our kids have to die? You're telling me our kids have to die? Our daughter is gone. She was 19 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. She graduated high school while being sick. She wrote a book while she was being sick that got published, which is called The End of the Rose. If you want to look for it, it's on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes and Noble. I don't know why eBay is selling it for so much. Some of them are charging like $40 for that book. Really? It's $19.99. It's a great book. And she put a lot of herself into it. It's like a medieval till now mystery. She wanted people to read it so they wouldn't feel like they're alone no matter what you're going through. It's a good book to read. And I read her book till chapter 9 and I stopped because I was crying while I was reading it. And even now, starting to read it again, it's like I can hear her talk, and she also wrote a part two to that book, and she was trying to do more chapters, but like I said, her hands were hurting and she couldn't finish that one, but she did do 4 chapters. It's on her tablet and her Chromebook. She wrote songs. I didn't even know she wrote songs. Um, I do have her Facebook open because there's a lot of friends that knew her. I mean, she wasn't Miss Popularity, but in school, um, well, actually, this is the book. Our older son Stephen Archibek illustrated the book. He also did a drawing in it. This one. Um, I will read you something that she wrote about herself. And it's about her. And she said, "Hello, my name is Mariah Archibek. I have been writing my own stories for as long as I can remember. This book is the only one I dreamed about getting published, mainly because some of them are unfinished or scrapped. I was inspired to write this story partially based on my life. Growing up, I was picked on, and I had no idea how to deal with it. But that was until people told me that I'm a strong, independent young woman. I am 19 years old, and this story holds a special place in my heart. One of the quotes I came up with that reminds me of this story is, 'You can't change a butterfly into something ugly.' In other words, you shouldn't be something you are not." This story reminds me of one of the main characters in this book, which would be none other than Kia Lansky. In conclusion, the story is something I'm very proud of writing and one that I admire. Um, we have a dedication to her. This book, The End of the Rose, is dedicated to Mariah for all she went through, having Ewing sarcoma cancer, how Mariah fought and never gave up. Mariah wrote The End of the Rose to inspire those to feel that they are not alone. Um, there's acknowledgments to me and our family. This was her. That was her. That's when she graduated. I took that picture. There's also a wallpaper that we like, which was by someone else. I don't know who it was by, but it was on Zedge, and it's a really cool wallpaper in here because that represents her. Like, she had a heart, big heart, and she loved flowers. She loved butterflies, and she was like a rose and a butterfly. She was innocent and she was beautiful inside and out. And Mariah brought a lot of joy to our family. She was the strength that held us together. And when she passed away on August 12th, 2024, in the early morning, it was like 8:16, I think it was. I checked on her twice that morning, and the night before I had cleaned her up, and she was trying to turn to the side. I was like, "Come on, Mariah, you can do it." And she smiled. And I told her, "You know what? I love you, Mariah. Your dad loves you. Your brothers and your baby sister love you. Your grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, they all love you." Um, and I asked her, I was like, "Would you mind if me and your brother Steven finish your book for you? Get it done?" She said, "Yes, Mom, go ahead. I want you to. I want you to make sure it's like what I want." And Steven knows what I want because they work on that book together. That's the way they were, always tossing stories, laughing and having fun. She played dolls with her younger sister, Maiden. Um, she got Maiden into liking Frozen. Mariah loved Disney. She named her dog Olaf after Olaf from Frozen. He's a mixed chihuahua. Our son Steven takes care of him. Um, she liked to draw anime. She liked to write, obviously. She loved to sing. She loved to act. She was shy. Um, she was sarcastic. I mean, she could be a smartass just like me. She was tough. Um, she was beautiful. I mean, she was so loving. And even though me and her had our moments, we'd forget what we fought about. I'd be like, okay, I don't remember what I said. She's like, I don't remember what I said either. I'm like, okay, let's watch something on TV. I would watch stuff on TV with her at the hospital, and she'd watch the Golden Girls, Mike and Molly. We watched wrestling. Favorite wrestlers: Alexa Bliss, Bray Wyatt. She liked Beth Phoenix and Edge. Um, there's different wrestlers. I know Beth Phoenix wasn't wrestling at the time, but um, it's interesting how her favorites came back. She liked Nikki Bella, and um, she liked the Bella twins, but Nikki was her favorite. Um, there's a lot of some of them she didn't like. She didn't like Logan Paul. Who does? I mean, I don't think he belongs in wrestling, if you ask me. But anyway, she loved different things, and we all shared it with her. And in fact, that's a painting of her, but in the back of me, that I think it's like a panda or something or koala. I don't know. But she did that in the hospital. Like nothing. Like she would do these different paintings, like abstract, and she loved to paint. She struggled when she died. She suffered bad. I mean, this part a lot of people aren't gonna like, but um, Mariah was bleeding out. I told the doctor, something wrong with her. She's like bleeding out. She's like, no, she's not. I was like, she has a catheter up her. Of course she's bleeding out. Um, her pee was like turning like an apple juice color before that, and I kept saying there's something wrong. You guys need to check her. She was in pain. She held on to the right side of her and her lower back, like saying, I'm in so much pain. I need to go to the hospital. I need to go to the hospital. Well, the doctor talked her out of it because the nurse talked to the doctor. And the nurse this time said, the doctor said, there's no point of you going to the hospital because they're not going to help you. And I was like, Mariah, if you want to go to the hospital, go to the hospital. Call 911 right now. And the nurse kept saying, there's no point. There's no point. And I'm like, well, we need to go to the hospital. And she's like, that's not up to you. And Mariah's like, she caved in. She didn't know what to say. Like I said, she wasn't all that alert. She suffered at home. And our younger kids saw that. They saw their older sister pass away in front of their eyes. One's like 3, and the other one's like 9. Almost 10. Like 3, 4. Yeah, I think Megan was 4. But he was almost 10. It's like, I mean, not listening to somebody when they're in pain, they're bleeding out, you don't care. You have them on all these meds, and she wanted to get off of them so she can like do her own thing. She did not die peacefully. I don't know if anybody has witnessed somebody. She had ketamine the night before, and I didn't know what ketamine, how strong it was. Like all they said was pain medicine. I didn't know it had to be administered in the hospital. They never said that. They never told me how strong it was until I heard about that actor from Friends. What happened to him? Because he was on ketamine, and some doctor said on some YouTube channel that I can't remember that ketamine can actually make you look comatose. Like you're laying there like this, but you're still alive. You know what I mean? Like your eyes are wide awake and you can't move. When I checked on Mariah on August 12th, I checked on her at 6 o'clock. For that, I was in the living room talking to our older son because he was like on the couch right behind the ottoman bed that she was on because he always wanted to make sure she was okay. Well, when I checked on her, she had her blanket off of her and it was rolled into a ball on the side of her and her oxygen mask was off. I was like, he didn't do that to her. My husband didn't, our younger kids didn't, nobody did that to her. I covered her and I put her oxygen on her nose and I said, I love you, Mariah. She said, I love you too. Well, see, the night before, I was telling the nurse, I was like, Mariah's heart rate is going at 153 beats a minute. And she's like, it's okay. She has a strong heart. The doctor said she has a strong heart. And I'm like, it's beating fast. Her hands felt kind of sweaty because I was checking her oxygen level and I think like her pulse sort of thing, you know? I think it was like her blood pressure or something, you know, those little things you put on your finger. And it was going up. Like, I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I woke up again at 8 o'clock. And something just bothered me because I woke up. I was like, telling my husband, I'm going to go put some oil on her, you know, CBD THC oil. So I went to go in there and I look at Mariah and her blanket was folded again, like into a ball. It was like rolled into a ball, seriously, on the right side of her. Her oxygen mask was off, and she was like that. And she had a black dot in her left eye. It was above her pupil, way above her pupil. She had tears coming down her face. She had breath coming out of her. She was breathing. Her heartbeat was beating normal. It was going do, 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 like that. It was a strong heartbeat. I knew she was still alive. And I tried to blow air into her mouth. I tried doing this, you know, pushing on her. I didn't know what I was doing. And I tried shaking her. I'm like, come on, Mariah, come on. My husband heard me scream, and our kids saw everything. And my husband's like, call 911. Because he like pulled me away from her. I called 911. While they came, I hated what they did. They put her on the ground. They had this heart pumping machine. It was plastic or whatever, pumping her heart. And I said, she had ketamine the night before, and this stupid EMT was talking to me. I was like, my daughter was on ketamine and all this other stuff. She was bleeding out and everything. You guys need to get her to the hospital. Are you guys going to take her or what? She's like, we'll see how it goes. You want to know the interesting thing? I called my mom, and my two sisters came. My sister-in-law came, and Mariah was put on the ottoman. And the weird thing is, when before they came, the EMT said pronounce her, and I was like, no, she's not. No, she's not. And the nurses from Mariposa put her on the ottoman, and one of them changed her shirt, something she liked to wear, which was a Alexa Bliss shirt. Um, and when my mom and my sisters came, my sister Shelly was sitting right next to her, and she looked at Mariah, and Mariah like smiled at her. She was still alive. How could that happen? How could she still be like that? She was still alive after the EMTs left. And she smiled. And my sister said, it's okay, Mariah. And I held on to her. I said, Mariah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not fair. You didn't deserve this. We need to finish your book. You need to go to college. You need to date, get married, have kids. That's what you should be doing. Writing more books. Acting. Sing. All it was taken from you, all of it was taken. Her hair was short. She pulled some of her hair out because of the pain she was in. But she still had some of her hair and it looked like a wine color. The sun, when the door was open, it was like shining on it. I was like, I wish it was me. Why you? Why? When I swear, when the EMTs left, my sister Shelly said, Mariah smiled. I saw that look on Mariah's face. She wasn't smiling until after my mom and my sisters came. You tell me that she passed away safe, so she didn't suffer. Tell me she didn't. And some of you say there's enough funding for pediatrics, really. Explain that to all of us that lost our children because of this. Explain that. All that's left are the stuff she left behind. Her room, her dolls, her clothes, bed. She couldn't sleep in for 2 years because she couldn't walk. Her book. She never got a chance to see it published. But me and Stephen, my husband, promised. And even her editor, Monica, promised we'd get it done, and it got done. City Book Publishing published it in January of last year. I asked him like a few months later, because we got 2 of it and we sold some of them here at home, and we still have some. I know some of you that are far away, you're probably wondering, how do I get it? Well, you can go on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, eBay, etc. If you're around the world and you see Mariah's book, this one is written by our daughter Mariah Archibek. She's 19 years old. She died of Ewing sarcoma cancer because there was no cure. And so many people are trying to find cures. There's not one. There isn't one. It doesn't matter what some doctors say. Oh yeah, we'll help you with this, we'll help you with that. Oh, sorry. We can't help your child, sorry. Or go to St. Jude. From my understanding, St. Jude doesn't help a whole lot from what I was told. They don't help you with the cost of living. They don't help you with you traveling out there. So anybody who says it's free, it's not. They just make it look good on TV. And I'm sorry, anybody who's had their kid there, that's fine. If they help them, that's great. But some people told me and my husband to do that. We can't travel. We couldn't travel with her. We didn't have the money. We live in another state. So if they're so great, how come it's not in other states? How come they're going by the same regimen? Same chemo regimen as other doctors? Mariah wanted to do alternative medicine and the doctors talked her out of it. So there's no point. Our kids matter. They're precious gifts. And those parents that have kids and they abuse them, they don't deserve them. They don't deserve to be called parents. Because I know in our state there was a girl named Victoria Martins. She was 11. And she was murdered. Her mom didn't care. She was involved in it with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's cousin. They did some horrendous stuff to her. There's other children out there that have been murdered by parents that don't care. Or by people they're not even related to. And they're murdered or assaulted. When are kids going to start to matter? When are people, that have disabilities matter? When are they going to matter? They're human beings, not something you just throw away. Should I show you where my daughter's at now? Mine and my husband's oldest daughter. You want to know where she's at? Mariah's in a grave. She's in her grave. I haven't been there. My husband hasn't been there. Our son Stephen has. She doesn't have a headstone. She just has one of those metal plaques. Because tombstones, they cost money. Or headstones, She has to have one of those standing up because my mom eventually, when she passed away, she'll be buried right next to her. Which isn't a bad thing. she didn't get what she wanted. She wanted to be cremated. She didn't, you know, she wanted to do what other people wanted. She's not religious. You know, some people are like, well, she must have been a bad person. No, she wasn't. She's very spiritual. Um, her funeral, ugh, I didn't like her funeral. I mean, there was a priest that talked too much, saying, "Oh yeah, she's with God. She's in heaven." How the heck do you know where she's at? Are you her? Are you there where she's at? I mean, do we actually know where people go? No, it's just something that people had other people believe in. The Bible was written 200 years after Jesus. Come on. I'm not saying he didn't exist. I'm just saying we don't know what the past was like back then. Nobody does. Unless they're from there and they built a time machine and came here. Or we can build a time machine and go back. You know, it's like, I think people need to know the truth about where people actually go. When is somebody going to find that out? Because there's so many ghosts and so many people that aren't done yet, you know. They pass away and they're still here somehow. I feel Mariah every day. So does my husband. You know, our kids do. That day on August 12th, I could not go with her. Well, the coroners came and put her on the the gurney. I couldn't do it, and I couldn't let our younger kids see that. I couldn't. I should have went with her outside with my husband and my mom. I couldn't do it. On the day of her funeral, I had to have some green, you know. And I had to, I took my medication because I'm on uh, Repropian. If anybody's on that, you know, it's for severe depression. I took my meds that day, and I also took, you know, marijuana. Big deal. It was in a vapor. Big deal. If I wasn't like so calm, I'm sure a lot of parents feel this way when they lose their child. So much. They would do anything, anything for them. I would have taken her home. I wanted to take her out of that casket. I wanted to wake her up and take her home. And not leave her in her grave. Because I felt like I was abandoning her. Why would I leave her? My husband felt the same way. How do you explain to your younger kids? How do you explain to your youngest daughter that your big sister's not coming back? And all I can say is, she's still with us. She's around. 100% can't even look at pictures of Mariah because it hurts. Her older son's writing books in his Chromebook. He likes horror stories. In fact, he created the character Mr. Grim Smiley. And my husband, he almost died because he has a TBI because of an accident that was caused by somebody else. It took him a year to realize she was gone. A year. How do you explain to your husband that? All these people who say there's enough funding, really. All the money goes to like wars and bull crap. When I heard that the cancer fund was taken away from kids, it angered me to a core. What did these kids do? That was so wrong. What did they do to deserve to be sick? What did the families who love them? What did we do to deserve to have our children taken from us? Not being able to hold them or talk to them. Not being able to spend time with them like you used to. What the hell did Mariah do? And other kids, what do they do? It doesn't matter how old they are. Even when they're adults, we still love them. Some have lost their children through tragedy. That was a tragedy. She didn't go peacefully. She suffered. I got pictures of what she looked like when she got out of the hospital. Before she died. Maybe I should share those. You want to see where she's buried? So all those people that think there's enough funding, there's not. There's not. Pediatrics only gets 1%, and Trump again took that away. Using a kid who has cancer. How do we even know that kid actually had cancer and his dad picked him up out of a wheelchair? How do we know that? He lies. He's a worthless piece of crap. And if I was in front of him, I would say, how dare you hurt children? How dare you stand there and have the gall to act like you're so innocent when so many people know you're sick and pathetic? And for you to stand there and make up lies about people and call them terrorists? No, you're a terrorist. You're a child serial sex predator. And who knows if there's young kids buried at Jeffrey Epstein's estate, his estate. And I'm so glad they're investigating harder and harder. And I hope they dig up that estate. And if they find any children there, there is no mercy for you. None. There's a lot of us that aren't afraid of you. There's a lot of us standing up for what's right. And we're going to keep protesting and we're going to keep standing up until you go to prison, until you realize when you hurt a child, goes around, comes around, dude. You take funding away from sick kids. You take food stamps and Medicare and Medicaid away from people that need it, that aren't as rich as you. You didn't become rich by yourself. You're stealing money from people that barely have anything. And those who voted for him, are you happy the way our country is becoming? Are you happy that he's a sexual serial child rapist? Are you happy that innocent people are dying every day because of ICE? Are you happy that innocent people are being deported? Oh, you think it's people that don't belong here. Well, you don't belong here either. Your ancestors probably murdered, were part of genocide, killing Native Americans. Also bringing Africans to the United States for slaves. So you want to talk about people that don't belong here? You don't. Our country is based off of, let me say it, whitewashing. And I think those people that are black and brown, whatever color they are, for showing us all a different way. A lot of them have given us strength and courage to be ourselves. And a lot of us are multicultural. What are you going to do about that? Are you going to deport my ass because I'm multicultural? Yes, I got Spanish. Yes, I got Norwegian and Swedish. Yes, I got Native American. So you're going to send my ass away? You're going to send people that I know of that have Arabic and all kinds of stuff? If they're not causing problems, if they're not rapists and murderers, I'm okay with that. I'm okay for them to be here. I mean, Mexico was right next door. Canada's next door. They're part of America too. You do realize that. They're part of North America. So, yeah, you people that are Trumpkin supporters, you want to sit there and say they're not American. They don't belong here. It's only the United States that are American. No, it's not. There's a big, big, big world out there that you don't realize and you need to pay attention to. So let me tell you something that Bad Bunny mentioned, which I appreciate because I was waiting for somebody to mention this. There's 3 parts of America. You got North, South, and Central. Puerto Rico is part of the United States, so is Hawaii, okay? There's also those parts. Even Alaska is part of the United States. Okay? So it's not just us in the middle or wherever, to the side, wherever. Because people claim that we're in the middle. We're not. It's more to the left or yeah, I think it's to the left. Yeah, the left. Hello, left-handed. Then you got South American Central, which has, Guatemala, Brazil, all these other countries. There's a lot of countries that are part of America, and they are Americans, but they have different countries. America's a continent, not a damn country. And the sooner some people realize that, they'll be like, oh, wow, what Trump is doing, do you realize you're a hypocrite? You just named the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. So you're saying what I'm saying, right? Mexico and Canada are part of America. Mexico fought for that Gulf. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So you're basically saying they're Americans. Thank you. You guys admitted they're part of America. They're Americans. And all those people that are around the world, I appreciate you. I really do. I think it's really neat how there's different cultures in the United States and, countries on either side that are part of America too. I mean, they're Americans, but they're different countries because America is a continent and we have different flags. I think our flag should have different countries on it. Don't you think that'd be a good idea? The United States, it's a small piece. It should have different flags on it from all the countries that are part of America. That would make things better instead of having red, white, and blue. And of course, some people think I'm like insulting the flag. I'm not insulting the flag. I'm just saying it'd be neat to have all these countries that are part of America, a continent. It'd be cool to have all their different flags and learn about it. That's what we try to teach our kids. And they know it. They know America's a continent. They know there's different countries. They know Canada and Mexico are part of it. So you, Trumpkin, and all those people that changed it to the Gulf of America, you just admitted that Mexico and Canada are part of America. You just admitted it. Especially Mexico. Because the Gulf of Mexico is right next to it. So you just admitted they are. You just made Mexico part of America. They're Americans. You want to know what we're called? Okay, Mexico's Mexicans, Canadians are Canadians, right? They have those cool names. Or Greece are Grecians, And then you got Swedish, Norwegian, the Europeans and stuff like that, and Spanish, whatever. Asians, Italians, all these cultures have really cool culture names. What's our United Statesans? We're United Statesans. Oh my gosh, we're United Statesans. United Statesans. And Canada has Canadians and Mexico has Mexicans. I mean, come on. Think about it. If you look at other people's cultures and what their countries' names are, ours is United Statesans. That's what we are, United Statesans. With different cultures that come together. We're supposed to come together. We're supposed to be as one. Why all the fighting hatred? We wouldn't be a freaking country if it wasn't for other countries. Think about it. It's the truth. But they call them America. Thank you for letting the Mexicans from Mexico know that they're Americans too. Congratulations, Mexico. Trumpkin just admitted, and I'm saying this because they named the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America, right? That's admitting you're part of America. I think you guys need to announce that, really. Like, changed what we fought for, our Gulf of Mexico, without our consent. We're part of America. I think Mexico needs to rise up and say that. Canada, you need to come out and say, we're next door to you people. We're huge. I mean, have you seen Canada? They're huge. Like, that's a huge freaking country. And all the cities they have, oh my gosh, I would love to go to Canada. I've been to Mexico. It was cool because, me and my mom her ex at the time. I was 16 years old. I just turned 16 and I went to Mexico with my mom and them. And it was interesting. And there was this little kid, and this little kid was selling crosses. And I think that kid made them because they were really neat. And it was black and turquoise, and I loved it. And I bought two of them. And I gave him $2 because that's how much he said it was. And I don't know if that helped him or not. But if I had more money, I would have bought more of them because those are really neat. I like the craftiness of it because they put so much into their artwork. Different cultures have a lot of artwork, singing, drawing, painting, drawing, dancing, acting, so many all over the world. And our kids, except Trumpkin and his little cronies, want to be like robots and follow them along. But that's what our country's based off of. And we're United Statesans? Really? That's our name? United Statesans. Think about it. United Statesans. Where are you from? United States? Oh, so you're in United States then. And people will be like, what? It'll catch them off guard. United States. Oh, you just admitted that Mexico is part of America. Because they own the Gulf of Mexico. Trumpkin, Dinky Doink, Tiny Hands, child predator that you are, 34 plus convicted felon. I'm glad all this is coming out because you're disgusting. Your kids are so brainwashed. Your wife's brainwashed. I mean, she was tossed around like a cheese tray, right? Are you happy about that? Oh, you don't care, right? You don't care that Jeffrey Epstein gave her to you like she was nothing. She's programmed to say anything you say. And so are the rest of them. So keep it up. Keep trying harassing people that barely have anything. Keep having them killed. Because in my state, they're not funding ICE. They're not allowed here. I suggest all you other states do the same thing. You'll get more funding that way. Don't fund ICE at all. I guarantee you'll have more funding for your state. Because most of the funding goes to them. Why? To terrorize people? Now they're at 14 airports? Really? Because there's not enough people, not enough staff? I don't believe that. They're there to terrorize innocent people. And if they come from other countries, what are you going to do? Put them in cages too? Because I guarantee you, other countries, they will come here so fast to our country, which is smaller than dirt. Ours is like a tiny little pebble. Mexico is bigger. Canada's bigger. They're still part of us. North America. Even South America and Central America, we're a part of each other. So anybody who's in the United States and they have different cultures, who cares? That's what we're based off of. I mean, come on, this land was stolen. There was a lot of Native Americans that were killed. There's been different cultures being killed. You basically brought Africans over here as slaves. Why? Why did you take them out of their home environment and bring them over here as slaves? Why? And then, guess what? They stood up against racism. They stood up against rights. Do you realize if it wasn't from what I saw, I was watching a Tupac's documentary about his mom. and Afeni Shakur. And she was a cool lady. She was married to a Black Panther. And do you realize they were fighting for Medicare, for medical help? Healthcare? Do you realize a lot of us have healthcare because of that? I mean, do your research. There's actually been some Black women that created stuff. Do you think the cell phone was created by a white person? No, it wasn't. GPS. And Trumpkin wants to erase them? Really? Why? Because they accomplished so much in their life? They have popular people like Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, actresses. Angela Bassett, Kim Fields, Raven Simone. Then there's Tanisha Campbell. Singers, I mean, Whitney Houston. Ooh, that girl can sing. Tina Turner. Mariah Carey, she's multicultural. But then there's like Jennifer Hudson. That girl can sing. I mean, she can sing. That woman, I mean, she's beautiful. Jackie Robinson in baseball. I can name more. There's a lot of them that have done a lot throughout history. There's also other cultures. There were Asians that were in the military that actually helped our military. There were also Italians, and there's also Irish, and you got Hispanics and Mexicans and the French. I mean, Swedish, Norwegian. I mean, there's all kinds of cultures like in Cambodian, Caribbean, Jamaican. I mean, there's a long list of different cultures. But yet we're this tiny piece. And Trumpkin thinks he's so big that he can go after these countries. There's even Muslims. Not all Muslims are bad. There's bad in every culture. There is. And that's the truth. There are some people in every culture that could be bad. But a lot of them aren't. There's a lot of them that pave the way for all of us. And they're still paving the way. And yeah, think about it. The Gulf of America, right? They just admitted that Mexico is part of America. We need to change our flag. The United States flag is boring, and because we have different cultures in our country, we're a tiny little piece. I think we should make our flag with all kinds of flags that represent us. I want to know more about South America. I want to know more about Central America. I want to know more about North America. I mean, did you realize Billy the Kid was looking for old Mexico when he was right next to it? Here's an idea. You want to discriminate against people, don't eat their food. Don't. Don't eat Arabic food. Don't eat Spanish food. Don't eat Mexican food. Don't eat Canadian food. Don't eat Muslims' food. Don't, like, because they're Arabic. Don't eat any culture you don't like their food. Don't eat it. Don't buy their stuff. Nada. And guess what? You'll have nothing on your back. You won't have your home, nothing. Cars, nothing. And the cars that Trumpkin wants to have American made are pieces of crap. Tesla is a crappy vehicle. Look it up. It's the number one most dangerous vehicle on the road. And their little swastika car, if a kid puts their hand in the back where their battery is like this, and it has like tubes that go like this, you can get your arm chopped off. Also, the frame is glued. I saw this video of this guy on YouTube. It's kind of funny because he was showing what that swastika car can do. And him and his friend were pulling it back and forth with their trucks. And it was funny because this one guy who's in front of that swastika car, and he had these big cement blocks. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but it's cool. And he pulled this piece of crap on wheels, a tin can, plus his friend's truck. And it's like, dang, I don't know if it was a Chevy, Ford, or Dodge. I don't know, but it was funny. And that tin can on wheels, if it backs up a boat, it'll sink. It's not good on snow. It's a stupid vehicle. If you actually look into toys, did you know that the LOL dolls have a car similar to that, but it's really cute and pink, and it turns into a swimming pool? Now that's cool. My daughter Mariah loved LOL dolls, and now our daughter Maiden plays with them, and she loves them. LOL dolls, OMG dolls. They're part of the whole LOL collection. Then you got Rainbow High, and then you got Shadow High. I had to learn all this stuff. And a few Bratz dolls, But they have a car that's similar to that, and it's like a pinkish, orangish color. Seriously, it turns into like a swimming pool. I thought that was neat. But yeah, don't buy a Tesla. And plus, their symbol looks like a vagina. Has anybody said that? That it looks like one of those? I think that some people need to look into that. Also, subscribe to me because I enjoy talking. I talk a lot. I talk about different things. I mean, if something's on your mind, if you have your own opinions, that's fine. But everybody has different opinions about different things. And yeah, subscribe to it because I want to know what you guys think. Like, what do you think about what's going on in the world? Or like, what's going on with you? Like, are you okay? Is your family okay? That's what's important. A lot of people don't ask other people if they're okay. So are you guys okay wherever you are? And I hope you and your family are doing good. My heart goes out to all the families for these hard times. But if you ever want to read a book that would make you feel like you're not alone, read this. The End of the Rose. And again, you can get it on Amazon, eBay, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, all over the world. I know they're in UK, it's online too, but I know a lot of people watch YouTube, so. And Mariah wanted to help other people that way, so we're doing that in her memory and to honor her and other people, so it's a good book. You should read it. But again, if you have any ideas on what to talk about, or you need to get something off your chest, because a lot of us do, you can do that too. So I'll just be chilling like an evil villain. Just kidding, I'm not evil. I can be like a bitch sometimes, I'm at that, I mean, we all have our moments, but There's a lot going on in the world right now, and I just like to say I appreciate other countries who are standing up. I appreciate our country for standing up, and don't give up, and don't stop fighting, because karma eventually is going to hit those people that are doing horrible things to innocent people. And all those people that are in Minnesota, I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. And don't give up. I think your governor needs to ban ICE. Don't fund them. Other states in the United States, don't fund them. Because I guarantee you, you'll have more funding for your state. And all these red zone states and these people just want to keep following along with Trumpkin and his lies. Go ahead. Because eventually, when you need help from like the blue states, because the blue states don't have as much violence as the red ones do. Some of them are segregated in those states. We're not. I don't care what culture you are, where you come from. I mean, as long as you want to come to our state and chill, have chili, watch the balloon fiesta, stuff like that, you know. There's people all over the world that come here, so, and we don't care where they come from. It's like really cool, you know, when you see stuff like that. And get to know them for them, not hating on them because of what they look like or the culture or where they come from. It's like there's too much hate and there's too much violence. And it needs to stop. And then some people say it begins with you and me. I've heard that a lot. But actually, some people are right, it does. I mean, we're here on Earth for a reason. It's like, where did we really come from? I mean, people need to do a lot of research on where we actually come from. I know some people think we came from Adam and Eve, but think about it. Come on. Those stories were put in the Bible 200 years after Jesus. Do you think Jesus was sitting there and saying, by the way, this is where we come from? I'm from Jerusalem, by the way, and I have dark skin, curly hair, but yet some people want to perceive me as like this, or, you know, they think I talk like this, or it'd be cool to go back in time, just sit there and talk to them, tell them what's going on. You're probably like, what? Why am I so popular? What is it about me that made me so popular to make me a symbol? Because that's what he is. He's a symbol. They put him on a cross, which he died on, and they put him in, like, somebody told me it looks like a diaper. I'm not trying to make fun of, but he looks like he's in a diaper. And he's hanging on a cross with thorns on his head, with nails in his hands. And I think like down by his legs he has it. What I don't understand is cotton didn't come about until like years later, not when he was around. I mean, a lot of people use like red and blue, something like that. They got it from plants. So where did the cotton come from? I mean, if you actually talk to people that live in Jerusalem, I bet you they would say this different story. I mean, in other countries, they would. I mean, in other parts of the world, they probably have different stories than what we do in the United States. Because I think a lot of stuff they've said throughout history, I don't know. I question it. And it's okay to question things, even though some people are like, no, those are accurate. That's what happened. Were you there? I wasn't there. I don't know what Jesus was like. I don't know what Julius Caesar was like. I don't know what Cleopatra was like. I don't know what Marie Antoinette was like. I don't know what the Queen of Spain was like. I don't know what the Queen of England was like. I don't know even, emperors from like Japan and China. I don't know what they were like. There's kings and queens all over the world we don't know about. Unless they're of today, you know, like now, but not centuries ago. And the people that, keep up with their traditions and stuff, that's really neat because you can pass it on to your kids and they can pass it on to theirs. But it's like here, it's like you got to speak English. You got to do like this. There's a lot of people that can't speak English. And that's okay. I mean, I want to learn their languages too. I mean, anyways, I know I was talking about loss and stuff, but to all the people that have had loved ones pass away, I'm sorry. And my heart goes out to all of you. My heart doesn't go out to people that are Trumpkin fans because, I don't really feel sorry for them because they don't care about people that are being killed, deported, assaulted. They think the Jeffrey Epstein thing is like, well, the Democrats are the ones that are pulling this crap. Really? It's not a Democrat Republican thing. It's a fact that these disgusting people hurt children. That's what they did. And I bet you there's some parents out there that don't even know where their child is at for years, months. Explain that to them. Anyways, I've been talking for almost 2 hours and I don't know if anybody's gonna like watch my channel or not, but I do appreciate whoever's listening and that. And like I said, I know it's hard right now and there's a lot of people suffering and they don't deserve it. And also, there needs to be a cure for cancer for kids. There needs to be cures for all kinds of diseases for people. And it's high time that money goes to funding for that. And also, if they want people off the street, why don't they build those tiny homes and make a program, to like, if they're drinking or doing drugs, put them in rehab and have them be part of like a program where it's long because it takes people a while to be sober and to be okay. Put money into that. Otherwise, people are just keep suffering and doing it. Because there's too many homeless people on the street. There's too many people with mental health that need help. There's too many people with different types of illnesses that need help. Yeah, you can't help people that are rapists and murderers. I'm sorry, you just can't. You can't rehabilitate them. Now, if it's self-defense, I can understand that. But when you intentionally kill somebody just for the enjoyment of it, no. And you want to hurt people, like assault them, because it's fun, it's exciting, no. But I gotta go do some homework because I'm doing college online for art and it's through California. So I appreciate California. Thank you. I have family in California, and I'm sorry that a lot of people lost their homes because of the fire. They probably lost some of their family members, and I'm sorry. That shouldn't have never happened, and Trump should have had people out there right away. I appreciate Canada, Mexico, and South Africa for coming and helping. And I'm sorry for what happened in Iran. Those people did not deserve to get bombed and die. I feel sorry for those people from Venezuela. And any person that wants to follow orders from Trumpkin, you're sick. You're sick and twisted. People in the military do not have to follow his orders. You could still back down from it. And those that are backing down from it, I appreciate you. But again, I've seen videos of other countries standing up. That's really neat how you guys are doing that. Because our country in the United States, we need your help. Because there's only so many of us that can stand up. And the more who stand up against Trumpkin and his village of the damned children, his cronies. I'm talking about his cronies like Mike Johnson, the Hegsworth guy, Caitlin Levette, Pam Bondi, all of them. We need your help to stand up against those people because they have so much money and they're using money that they shouldn't be having. And they're destroying our country. And a lot of us are angry at him. At all of them. Because our home is being destroyed. Our country is meant for all cultures. All LGBTQ communities. People that have disabilities, people that have illnesses. Everybody. Mariah was like that. She accepted everybody. Her book is for everybody. And eventually our son, trying to figure out how to do it in Braille. So if anybody has any ideas of who to call for that, we want to make Mariah's book in Braille so that people that are blind, they can read it too. And eventually Stephen wants to make a picture book. So there's a lot of stuff we want to do with Mariah's book. We want to do merch. You know, I wish I had some merchandise right now, like hats, sweatshirts, you know, like hoodies or, you know, even figures of the character on the book. That's Caro Inika Medianoche. Her name's Lady Midnight. And Mariah loved world history. And she wanted her book meant for all. And that's why, you know, there's not so much about, you know, what people are. It's more about how you treat people and accept them for who they are. There's a reason why there's so many of us that are different. Because if we all look the same, life would be boring. If we all had the same interests, it would be boring. And it's nice to hear other people's interests and things that are good things to help people. That's what Mariah taught me. So she taught me and my husband and our other kids is that to accept one another. Because if she was here next to me, she would say the same thing. She'd tell me I'm right. I know what it's like to be picked on. I was bullied in school. Mariah was ridiculed, threatened. Not because her skin color was too light. Because she didn't look Spanish. You know, Spanish people have light complexion. I'm sure people in Spain would say the same thing. Like, yeah, you're saying the right thing. Like, there's a lot of us that have light complexion, but there's a lot of us that are black and brown, you know, all types of colors, you know. And she told those girls in school, she's like, I'm multicultural, stupid. I got Spanish, I got Swedish and Norwegian, and I also got Native. So what do you got? You want to keep, harassing me? They harassed her so bad she didn't go back to school after COVID. So me and my husband let her stay home and do school online, and then months later we found out she was sick. 2.5 years later, we lost her. It's all because there's no cure. Not enough funding. So, in memory of Mariah, I am honoring her by talking about her and letting people know her story and what she went through when she wrote the book and why. And it's a good idea to write how you feel down. It's okay, like painting or whatever, to express yourself. And that's how she expressed herself, was writing. And she inspired me to go back to school. My husband and other kids did too. So I'm trying to get my associates. So yeah. So in a couple of years I'll have my associate's degree. Anyways, I got schoolwork to do. And if you have schoolwork to do, you should do it too. It's important, that way you can pass your classes and do what you want to do. And help your kids. Love them. Show them you love them. Show the people around you that you love them. Well, unless, you don't really like them and they're starting crap with you. I don't suggest that. But care about, you should tell them. Every day that you love them, or call them sometimes and let them know you're there. Because otherwise, when you say that you're going to be there and then you're not, that really hurts. And it's almost like that Meghan Trainor song she sang with Teddy Sims. Or Swims. Is it Swims or Sims? I'm probably getting that name wrong, but it's like that song. You love them, but, they can be bad for you, for them being in your life, because they say they want to be there for you and then they turn around and don't care. Don't be like that. Because when you see somebody like down and out, and you can't do so much, there's only so much you can do. Sometimes when I saw like homeless people, there's a homeless couple that me and my husband helped, and they hadn't eaten in like a week. And this lady's husband said that he's trying to get a job, and if he gets this job, they can get off the street. Well, my husband went to the store and got them some food, and it helped them. And this guy had a cell phone, and he told my husband, he's like, thank you for that, because me and my wife, we got off the street, and I was able to get that job, and thanks to you for helping feed us, because we didn't know what to do. There was a teenager we helped and gave him some food. If you help one another, you should do that, because there's different reasons why people are homeless. They could have lost their homes. They could have ran away and nowhere else to go. They could be doing drugs and drinking, because maybe loss, not just because they lost a home. There's different reasons why people are homeless. And people need to stop judging, do something about it, help them out, I don't suggest you have them live with you. I'm suggesting like all these people that want to put money into wars and crap that are millionaires or billionaires, you should help foundations like that instead of throwing them in jail. You should have them in rehab because you're sending somebody who's drinking, doing drugs, you send them to jail, they're not going to know where they're at. And they snap out of it and they're like, what happened? Do you realize in jail they do drugs too? Oh, they do. And there's a lot they do in jail. So they don't monitor people all the time. There's probably some officers that are like, here, I don't care. But still, you should put them in rehab, not jail. That would help out if there was more funding for that. And also finding cures for diseases like Alzheimer's, dementia, Ewing sarcoma cancer, leukemia. I mean, there's so many. Lupus, chronic fatigue syndrome, also called ME. My cousin Christina had that. So there's a lot of people suffering, and all some people care about is, yeah, it's okay to bomb another country. It's okay to do this and that. Why don't you go send your freaking family member out there? Why don't you go out there? And you explain to all those men, women, and children who lost their family members because Trump can have some of our military go bomb over there. Do you realize there's 100 and some people killed? Do you care? That's just like what happened on 9/11. Do you remember that? What was it? 6,000 people died. There was 90 different. I can't remember the word. Anyways, there was a lot of people that were killed. 90 nations, I should say. 90 that lost people. There was people from other countries that lost family members that day. Firefighters went in, and some of them passed away because they died helping. They don't mention the fire departments very much, and they should. It's always about the military. Why aren't you mentioning the medical fields? All of them, all the medical people. But you mention the military. Not everybody wants to go to the military. I don't know if in Canada it's different that they force men to go into the military, because they do. Or either that, they'll go to jail in our country. It's not their choice. And then some women are in the military. I don't know. I mean, that's their choice to do that. But there's been so many that have been harassed, assaulted, some have been murdered. I mean, even some young men have been. Nobody knows where they're at. Did we forget about Vanessa Gideon and those other people they found at Fort Hood? Those people didn't deserve to die. I mean, our military needs to take care of people and not shut them aside like they're just pieces. And they're saying that they're trying to protect us when they're in other countries. How are they supposed to protect us? Do you remember 9/11? Do you remember that? Because do we need that again? Do we need to have other countries come here and bomb us because Trump can decide, hey, I'm going to go bomb them over what, oil? Do you realize they helped with our oil? Do you understand that other countries helped with gas? And now you're complaining that the gas prices have gone up? Think about it. Use your brain. It's above your ass, okay? That's that thing above your ass. Um, it's important to realize and pay attention what's going on. And I'm glad there's people like Midas Touch. I'm glad that there's Brian Tyler Cohen and other people that are showing the truth. And I appreciate that. There's some people on the YouTube channel that are like, I don't know, some of them don't tell the truth. And I'm telling the truth. I tell the truth about mine and my husband's oldest daughter, about her book, about how I feel. And if you guys have your own opinions, that's okay. But just realize something. If you are a Trump supporter and you keep doing it, pretty soon our country, as small as it is, we're going to lose a lot. We're going to lose a lot. We already are losing a lot. How many more lives have to be taken? It wasn't just Renee Nicole Good that was killed. It wasn't just Alex Preddy that was killed. There were other people that were killed. I'm not just talking about Iran. I'm talking about in our own country. There's even neighborhoods that have guns that are killing each other. For what? Because they're in a gang? They get credit for killing an innocent person? I mean, how many guns are going to be in the hands of young kids? And then you allow a person who has mental health issues, you allow them to have a gun. Don't tell me that you stop them, because you don't. It's so easy for somebody to get a gun like that. And then, if the neighbors don't get along and one of them gets a gun, you're not going to do nothing about it because you don't see it. No, you need to do something about it right there and then. And then when there's kids missing, oh, we're going to be there 24 hours. No, you're going to get your ass out there and you're going to find them. Because there's so many kids missing. And like I said, I do not have any idea who has kids that have been missing because of what Trump did and Elon, even Elon Muskrat was probably involved. But Jeffrey Epstein and Trumpkin, how many kids have been missing? How many are not living anymore? We don't know. And all those people that are survivors, I give them a lot of credit. I mean, keep fighting. Don't stop. Keep doing what you're doing. Because it's not your fault what they did to you. It's not. It's theirs. And they deserve to be punished. They deserve to be in jail. They deserve everything that's coming towards our way. You deserve justice. And so do those kids that are missing. Because we don't know. They're looking for bodies at the estate. They're looking for a lot of things. So, coming from somebody that was assaulted as a child by a neighbor when I was a kid, he was 14. It's not your fault. It's theirs. So, if anybody's watching this, I send my heart and hugs out to all that are suffering right now. We're in this together. And all those other people around the world, we're in this together. You're appreciated. because we wouldn't be a country if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't have what we have if it wasn't for you. So thank you. I really appreciate this time, and it's hard for me to talk about Mariah, but I'm glad I got it out, and people are going to know that there's a lot of kids suffering with that same cancer or other cancers. There's probably somebody diagnosed today with it and scared out of their mind. Diagnosed with something, and they don't know whether they're going to live or die or not. But just know that I got your back. And all those people protesting, I got your back. Like I said, we're all in this together. And thank you for listening. And whoever, I look out my window a lot because I check who's going by or something. It's a quiet neighborhood, but who's ever out there and they feel alone, you're not alone. All of us are going through a lot and struggling, have had loss, and still going through the emotions. And you were just diagnosed with something and you don't know where to go. You just feel alone. That's why I say, read Mariah's book, because it'll get you through. It won't take your pain away, but it will just take your mind off of it for a little bit. I miss her. We all miss her. And just remember, you matter. You're not alone. And all this stuff going on about Britney Spears, people, just leave her alone. I mean, are you around her too? She's suffered. She's going through a lot. You want to know the reason why she doesn't come out talking? It's because so many of you are spreading lies about her. How would you feel if somebody was talking about you like that? We don't know if that DUI was actually real. We don't know if she actually did something like that. And just because they show pictures of her, some of those pictures look old. Actually look at them. All those people that say she's crazy and she belongs on a conservatorship still, you have no right to judge her. Because there's so many people like her that are going through the same thing. Her family used her, okay? She went through a lot. And you speculate on things on her and you act like you know her. You act like you know what's going on. But you don't. I don't know her. All I know is I've been a fan since I was a kid. She's a few years younger than me. And if she doesn't want to come out talking to you, that's probably the reason. Because you guys keep talking so much crap about her. You don't know nothing about her. Get a clue. She's probably secluding herself, not wanting to talk to you, and it's okay. Quit acting like, she's dead. Why don't you go check on her? Go to her home. Go to where she's living. Actually see her in person instead of all these videos that, oh yeah, there's Britney Spears here. There's Britney Spears acting like this. Go to her home if you really give a damn. Otherwise, stop talking about her. That's the way I feel about it. And some people are going to be like, no, she's like this, she belongs. Okay, if you were depressed and you have anxiety, you have PTSD, and then you have people like putting you on lithium and all kinds of stuff. Your family doesn't care about you. They're just using you. Think about it. If that was you, how would you feel? And then knowing that the public is talking more and more crap about you. How would you feel? You wonder why Selena Gomez isn't talking about Britney Spears' wedding? Because it's none of your business. She's not coming out saying anything about Britney because it's none of your guys' business. That's between her and Britney, not you. Madonna's not coming out saying anything. If she was truly worried about Britney, she'd be right there. Hopefully. She has close friends. But why don't people go check on her if you know where she lives? And then take your little freaking phone and film her, okay? Go walk up to her damn door and see how she is. And then you'll know how she's doing. Quit spreading all these rumors like, oh my gosh, I think she's dead. Oh my gosh, she belongs in conservatorship. Oh my gosh, she did a DWI. And people are talking crap about that. You know how many people have had a DWI? You know how many people have drank and drove that haven't had a DWI? There's a reason why people drink. Because they're depressed. They're sad. Maybe they had a loss. Maybe they've been abused. You have no idea. Until you're in that situation, you have no right to judge. So me, personally, if I was able to talk to her, I'd be like, girl, I understand why you're not talking to people. I wouldn't be talking to people either. I wouldn't be trusting so many people. And when she does her videos, have you noticed? I bet you she's trying to get your attention in a way that she knows would get your attention to make you think otherwise. I mean, just because she did filming like she has been, doesn't mean she's like that. She's probably showing you how stupid you guys can be by believing that she is crazy. Have you thought about that? I mean, I can do a filming right now and act all nuts. I can be like, oh my gosh, I got these fake knives and I'm going like this. Oh my gosh, I'm really crazy. I'm just like shaking. Oh, and I talk to my stuffed animals too. And then I talk to the window. I'm talking to the window right now. Really? I saw people on Popcorn Planet and they were saying some stuff about Britney. I like Popcorn Planet somewhat, but when they were talking about Britney, I was like, how do you guys really know what's going on? How do you know that that's not spreading around just to make her look bad? How come you guys aren't going to her home and talking to her? Go to her house and talk to her and interview her. Get an interview. You had Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp talked to some little kid. Captain Kraken. I remember that little kid. He was so funny and he was cool. And when he passed away, I cried, you know. Mariah thought it was very sad because he's so young. And he talked to Johnny Depp. And YouTube took his channel off, which was messed up. I mean, this was a kid and his family. I mean, his family still posts stuff once in a while, and my heart goes out to them. And it's not easy losing your child. It's not. And he was a beautiful kid. But my suggestion is, if they want to know what she's doing, go to her home. Where does she live? In LA? Do you know her address? Walk up to her door and say, hey, I'm here to interview you, and see what she says. And if you see that she's chilling with her kids and doing what she wants to do, and you realize, wow, everything that people have been saying about her is a lie. They're just trying to ruin her life even more. And those pictures of her sons with one of her son's girlfriends, it looks photoshopped. It really does. I saw like something on the YouTube channel where they were showing like these pictures, and I'm like, yeah, it does. It looks photoshopped because they're walking the same way, they're wearing the same thing. It's like you can change up their clothes too. I should know. I'm learning Photoshop right now. Anybody who's done Photoshop knows. So instead of judging and saying that she's so horrible because of DUI, what have you done in your life? What have you done? I mean, it kind of made me mad that some people were judging her because of that. Like, oh my gosh, she did DUI and she could have hit somebody and blah, blah. Were you there? Just because it's all in words and newspapers and stuff like that, magazines, is it true? Go to her damn door. Go talk to her. How come nobody's not doing that? They just want to sit there and judge, like, well, today we're going to talk about so and so. And oh my gosh, she belongs in like conservatorship again. Like, oh my God. Have you seen her videos? Like, she could be doing that to get a rise out of you people. And it's working. It is working because some of you got a rise out of her being talked to like she should have been talked to. When she was interviewed with Diane Sawyer, do you remember that? How she kind of blamed Britney for cheating on Justin Timberlake. He cheated on her. Have you read her book? I don't know if all those words are true or not. But she was crying. She made her feel like dirt. Oh, and then when she was on Star Search, I remember that one. How Ed McMahon told her, do you have a boyfriend? She was like 8 years old. Why are you asking her that crap? And the way Justin Timberlake talked about it on a podcast. Oh, saying, yeah, I did her good. You know what? That's disgusting. So instead of judging her, go to her door. You know, so many people agree with me on that one. Go to her door. Go to her instead of speculating. Like I said, I do like some Popcorn Planet. I do. You know, I like how, Andy's defending Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson did nothing. He was an informant. He was trying to save kids. And some people want to dismantle his legacy. Really? You can't do that because his kids are his legacy. And they're passing on what they learned from their dad. And they loved her. Why didn't they ask them when they were smaller if their dad did anything? How come they weren't interviewed? Think about it. It's all about money, right? He didn't just pass away. He was taken. And guess who has all the evidence of doing stuff to kids? Yeah. That's what I thought. So yeah, I appreciate Andy for setting up for Michael Jackson. You know, a lot of people are. But I was disagreeing on some of the stuff they were saying on Popcorn Planet because some of it was like, yeah, Britney shouldn't be talked about. Like, some of them were saying we don't know what's going on with her. And they're right, we don't. But the other person was like, oh my gosh, she could have hit somebody. I was like, really? What did you do in your life? You've made mistakes, right? How do you even know she actually did that? Were you there? No. Do you realize that people are twisting stuff? The media lies sometimes. Have you noticed? But next time you want to judge her, go to her. Can you go to her door? Can you go to her home? Where does she live? If you know where she lives at, why don't you go there? Quit judging her because you have no right to judge her unless you've been in that position yourself. And if you have been in that position and you have done way worse than her, you're a hypocrite. How do you know she wasn't trying to get away from the paparazzi? You don't know that, do you? And they made it look like she had DWI. DUI. Driving under the influence. She wasn't driving while drunk, was she? Do you know if she was drunk? Did you test her drunk levels? Yeah, you shouldn't be judging her at all because that's not right. Like I said, if you've done the same thing, you're a hypocrite for judging her. We've all made mistakes in life, but I just didn't agree with what that one guy was saying. I don't remember his name, but he was on Popcorn Planet. I was just saying that. Why don't you guys just go to her door and ask her, hey, what's up, Brittany? How are you doing? How are you doing? Are you okay? Has anybody asked that? Like, how are you doing? Go to her damn door. I got homework to do. But remember that. Go to her door. And if Popcorn Planet wants to talk to me, I'm like, okay, I agree with you on some things, but some things I don't. And it's okay. But when it came down to, people talking about Britney Spears, it's like, are they trying to sway people to that, talking about that, and not talking about the Jeffrey Epstein files? Is that why Trump can bomb Iran to just be like, we're going to forget about it? No, we're not. But I would love to talk to Andy from Popcorn Planet. I would love to talk to Brian Tyler Cohen. I would love to talk to the people from Midas Touch. I mean, Midas Touch is a great YouTube channel. I would recommend it. There's a guy named Luke. He's really good to watch. And there's some other ones that are good to watch, and they speak the truth. And congratulations to Midas Touch for the award they won. I mean, that's really great, and I hope they win more. But if me and Andy from Popcorn Planet talk, I was like, yeah, I agree with you with some things. I'm glad you stood up for Johnny Depp and Michael Jackson. But when you guys are talking about Britney Spears, I agree with some of what you're saying. But what the other guy was saying, like getting all upset, we don't know. We don't know what's going on with her. But people need to go knock on her door. If you really care about her, go knock on her door. Maybe she just needs somebody to say, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need a hug? Do you need, somebody to talk to that's actually going to talk to you and not judge you? That's what she probably needs. I would love to interview her. I wouldn't be judging her because, we've all made mistakes in life, like I said. But I would just want to know if she's okay. Or is she going to end up like people that have committed suicide because of all people tormenting her and saying all this stuff like she needs to belong in a conservatorship? You have no right to judge. Neither do I. We really don't know this whole story. And her ex, Sam, come on. When he was interviewed on how she's doing, he's like, I don't talk to her. He's like, oh, I wish her all the best, this and that. She needs her privacy. He obviously doesn't give a damn about her. Because if he truly cared, he'd be checking on her. What's the real reason why they divorced? What's the real reason why they got married? Was she forced into it? Did he cast her aside? What happened? I mean, how come nobody's asking that? Like, did he hurt her? Did he love her? Is she okay? Again, go knock on her damn door and find out if she's okay or not. Otherwise, don't talk about her. Don't care about her. Leave her alone. Let her live her life. But if you seriously want to know, I don't know why people are just going to knock on her damn door and they make these videos of her and crap. If you know where she's at, go talk to her.